I'm begging you. If you really love me, you will never speak of this to anyone, not even your sisters." Daenerys Targaryen says this to Jon Snow in Season 8, Episode 4, her voice breaking with desperation. They're standing near the crypts of Winterfell after celebrating their victory over the Night King. She's just learned that Jon is actually Aegon Targaryen, her nephew, and the rightful heir to the Iron Throne. And she's begging him to keep it secret, begging him to never tell anyone, especially his sisters, about his true parentage. She frames it as a test of love. If Jon really loves her, he'll protect her claim to the throne by staying silent about his own. Jon's response tells you everything you need to know about where his loyalty actually lies. "I owe them the truth. You are my queen. Nothing will change that." He says she's his queen. He says nothing will change, but his words are hollow, because in the very same breath he's telling her he's going to do exactly what she's begging him not to do. He's going to tell Sansa and Arya. And this decision, this choice to prioritize his sisters over Daenerys despite her desperate plea, proves something crucial. Jon Snow doesn't trust Daenerys Targaryen. Not with his family's safety, not with his sister's well-being, not with the secret that could protect her fragile claim to power. He loves her, he believes in her cause, he's bent the knee to her, he's fought beside her, he's slept with her. But when it matters most, when she asks him to choose between his Stark family and her Targaryen ambitions, Jon chooses the Starks. And that choice reveals the crack in their relationship that will eventually destroy everything. Let's examine this scene, what Jon's decision means, and why it proves he never fully trusted the woman he claimed to love.
Part 1. The desperation in Daenerys' plea. Before we analyze Jon's choice, we need to understand what Daenerys is actually asking for. She's not being unreasonable, she's not being paranoid, she's seeing the reality of her situation with perfect clarity. The North doesn't love her. They respect Jon. They've crowned him king in the North. They fought for him at the Battle of the Bastards. They follow him because he's a Stark, because he's Ned's son, because he's one of them. Daenerys? She's a southern foreigner with dragons who showed up demanding their loyalty. They bend the knee because Jon told them to, not because they want to. Jon has a better claim. He's the son of Rhaegar Targaryen and Lyanna Stark, born in lawful marriage, the legitimate male heir. In Westerosi succession law, his claim is stronger than hers. People prefer him. At the feast after defeating the Night King, everyone celebrates Jon. They cheer for him, toast him, praise him. Tormund tells heroic stories about Jon to the entire hall. Meanwhile, Daenerys sits at the head table, watching the man she loves receive the adoration she believes she's earned. Her power is based on belief. Daenerys' entire claim rests on people believing she's the rightful queen, the last Targaryen, the breaker of chains. If Jon's parentage becomes public knowledge, that belief crumbles. So when she begs Jon to stay silent, she's not being selfish or power-hungry, she's trying to survive politically. And she's asking the man who claims to love her to protect her the way she's protected him. But Jon says no. Part 2. I owe them the truth. Jon's response is revealing in what it prioritizes. I owe them the truth. Not, we'll figure this out together. Not, let me think about the best way to handle this. Not even, I understand your concerns. Just, I owe them. Them, his sisters, his family, the people who've known him as a bastard his entire life, who he's fought to return to, who represent home and belonging and the North. He owes them the truth, not because it serves any strategic purpose, not because it helps defeat Cersei or protect the realm or achieve any goal they're supposedly working toward together, but because they're his sisters, and he feels he owes them honesty. This is Jon's core identity asserting itself. He's a Stark. He was raised by Ned Stark, who died because he couldn't lie about Joffrey's parentage, who valued honor and truth above survival. Jon has spent his entire life being the honorable bastard, the one who does the right thing even when it hurts, the one who tells uncomfortable truths, the one who can't keep secrets even when keeping them would be wiser. And now, when Daenerys needs him to be politically savvy, to be strategic, to protect their alliance by keeping one secret, Jon can't do it. Because he's Jon Snow, and Jon Snow tells the truth to his family, consequences be damned. Part 3. The hollow reassurance. The second part of Jon's response is even telling. You are my queen. Nothing will change that. This should be reassuring. He's telling her he still supports her claim. He's still loyal. She's still his queen. But watch Daenerys' face when he says this. She doesn't look reassured. She looks devastated. Because she knows, and Jon should know, that this is a lie. Everything changes the moment Jon tells Sansa and Arya. Once his sisters know, Sansa will tell Tyrion. Tyrion will tell Varys. Varys will start plotting to put Jon on the throne. The secret will spread across Westeros like wildfire. And once people know Jon has a stronger claim, they won't care what Jon says about who his queen is. They'll care about the law, about succession, about having a legitimate male heir versus a foreign woman with dragons. Jon is smart enough to know this. He's been in Westeros his entire life. He understands how these things work. So when he tells Daenerys nothing will change, he's either lying to comfort her, which means he knows he's about to destroy her position and is trying to soften the blow, delusional, which means he genuinely doesn't understand the political consequences of what he's about to do, or prioritizing his need to be honest over her need for security, which means his values, honor, truth, family loyalty, matter more to him than her survival. Part 4. The scene in the Godswood. What happens next confirms everything. Jon goes to the Godswood with Bran, Sansa, and Arya. He tells them he needs to share something, but they have to swear never to tell another soul. Jon, I need to tell you something, but you have to swear you'll never tell another soul. Arya swears immediately. Sansa kind of mumbles a vague agreement. Then the scene cuts away before we see the actual revelation. But we see the aftermath, and it's exactly what Daenerys feared. Sansa immediately tells Tyrion. She breaks her oath within hours. She sees Jon's claim as a weapon against Daenerys, as a way to protect northern independence, as leverage she can use. Tyrion tells Varys. The secret spreads to the most dangerous spy master in Westeros, a man who explicitly believes Jon would make a better ruler. Varys starts plotting to betray Daenerys. He attempts to poison her, sends letters across the realm revealing Jon's parentage, and actively works to undermine her. All of this happens because Jon told his sisters, because he chose trust in his family over protection of Daenerys. And here's the crucial question. Did Jon not see this coming? He knows Sansa. He knows she's politically savvy, that she's learned from Littlefinger and Cersei, that she prioritizes northern independence above all else. He knows Sansa doesn't trust Daenerys. They've had tense interactions all season. Sansa has openly questioned Daenerys' presence in the north. So when Jon tells Sansa this secret, he has to know, has to suspect that she'll use it. And he tells her anyway, because Jon's trust in his family is absolute, and his trust in Daenerys is conditional. Part 5. What trust actually looks like. Let's compare this to how Jon handles other relationships. With Ygritte, Jon keeps his Night's Watch missions secret, even though he loves her. He lies to protect his vows, even knowing it will eventually destroy their relationship. With the Night's Watch, Jon breaks his vows and abandons his post after his resurrection, but he waits until after he's technically been released by death. He finds a way to honor both his oath and his need to leave. With Mance Rayder, Jon maintains his cover even when tortured and tested. He protects his mission over his personal comfort. With Sansa and Arya, Jon shares the most politically dangerous secret in Westeros within days of Daenerys asking him not to. He chooses family truth over strategic silence. See the pattern? Jon will lie and keep secrets when duty requires it, when honor demands it, when protecting his mission or his oaths. But he won't keep a secret from his family. Not even when the woman he loves begs him to. Not even when the political stakes are catastrophic. This tells us everything about where Jon's ultimate loyalty lies. Part 6. the Stark versus Targaryen inside him. Jon's decision in this scene reveals the fundamental tension in his identity. He's spent 8 seasons being Jon Snow, the bastard of Winterfell, the Stark who doesn't quite belong but desperately wants to. His entire sense of self is built on his Stark connections, his northern values, his loyalty to his family. Then he learns he's Aegon Targaryen, legitimate, royal, the rightful heir to the Iron Throne. But this doesn't change who he is inside. It doesn't make him feel more Targaryen. It makes him feel more lost. And when forced to choose between Targaryen secrets and Stark honesty, between Daenerys' political needs and her sister's right to know, Jon chooses Stark every time. He chooses to be Jon Snow instead of Aegon Targaryen. He chooses northern honor over southern strategy. He chooses family over romance. And this choice proves he's never fully embraced the Targaryen part of himself. He's never fully trusted Daenerys enough to let go of his Stark identity.
Part 7. The Parallel with Ned Stark. Jon's decision to tell Sansa and Arya mirrors his father's fatal choice in Season 1. Ned Stark discovered that Joffrey was illegitimate. He had the information that could destroy Cersei and put the rightful heir, Stannis, on the throne. Everyone told him to keep quiet. Varys, Littlefinger, anyone with political sense. But Ned couldn't. He had to tell Cersei, had to warn her, had to give her a chance to run, because that's what honor demanded, and it got him killed. Jon makes the exact same mistake. He has information that's politically explosive. Daenerys begs him to keep it secret. Anyone with strategic sense would see the danger. But Jon can't. He has to tell his sisters, has to be honest with his family, because that's what a Stark does. And it destroys Daenerys' claim, leads to Varys' betrayal, contributes to her paranoia and isolation, and ultimately plays a role in her descent into burning King's Landing. Jon learned nothing from Ned's death, or rather, he learned exactly what Ned taught him. Honor matters more than survival. Truth matters more than strategy. Family matters more than politics. This is the Stark in him, and it's incompatible with the Targaryen alliance he's trying to maintain. Part 8. Daenerys sees it coming. Watch Daenerys' face during their conversation. She knows. She knows Jon is going to tell his sisters. She knows this is the beginning of the end. She knows her plea won't work. That's why she begs, why she frames it as a test of love, why she looks so devastated when he says, "I owe them the truth." Because she's watching the man she loves choose his family over her, choose his identity as a Stark over their partnership as Targaryens, choose honor over protection. And she knows, in that moment, she knows that Jon will never choose her first. She's alone. She's always been alone. Even with the man who says he loves her, who's bent the knee to her, who's fought beside her, she's alone. Because Jon's first loyalty isn't to her, it's to the Starks, to the North, to the truth, to the honor Ned Stark taught him. And nothing Daenerys can say or do will change that. Part 9. The consequences unfold. Everything that happens afterward flows from this one scene. Sansa tells Tyrion, Tyrion tells Varys, Varys plots to betray Daenerys, Daenerys executes Varys, her isolation deepens. Jon's parentage spreads. People start questioning Daenerys' claim. She feels her power slipping. Her desperation grows. Jon pulls away from Daenerys. She loses the emotional support that kept her grounded. She becomes more unstable. She burns King's Landing. Jon kills Daenerys, completing the ultimate betrayal that started when he chose to tell his sisters despite her pleas. Every domino falls because Jon didn't trust Daenerys enough to keep one secret. Not because he wanted to hurt her, but because his identity as Jon Snow, Ned Stark's son, honorable to a fault, loyal to his family above all else, wouldn't let him choose differently. Part 10. What trust requires. Trust requires vulnerability.
It requires putting someone else's needs ahead of your own values sometimes. It requires choosing partnership over principle when the stakes are high enough. Jon couldn't do this. He couldn't prioritize Daenerys' political survival over his need to be honest with his sisters. He couldn't sacrifice his Stark identity to protect their Targaryen alliance. He couldn't trust that Daenerys' instincts about this secret were right, that keeping it hidden was necessary for their survival. Instead, he trusted his own judgment, his own values, his own sense of what family loyalty demands. And that lack of trust in Daenerys, that inability to prioritize her needs over his honor, is what proves he never fully gave himself to their relationship. He loved her, but he didn't trust her enough to change who he was for her. And she knew it. The moment he said, "I owe them the truth," she knew it. The final truth. If you really love me, you will never speak of this to anyone, not even your sisters. Daenerys asked for one thing, one secret kept, one choice made in her favor instead of his family's. And Jon said no. Not cruelly, not without regret, but absolutely. Because Jon Snow is, at his core, exactly who he was raised to be. Ned Stark's son, northern, honorable, loyal to his family above all else. Even when that loyalty destroys the woman he loves. Even when that honor costs everything. Even when the truth he owes his sisters leads to chaos, betrayal, and death. This scene doesn't show Jon betraying Daenerys deliberately. It shows something worse. It shows him being unable to choose her when it matters most, unable to trust her judgment about what's dangerous, unable to prioritize her survival over his values, unable to be the partner she needed him to be. And that's why this scene proves Jon Snow didn't trust Daenerys Targaryen. Not because he lied to her, but because he couldn't lie for her. Not because he didn't love her, but because he loved his family more. Not because he betrayed her intentionally, but because his entire identity, Jon Snow, the honorable bastard, the Stark who does the right thing, made betrayal inevitable. I owe them the truth. 4 words that ended a dynasty. 4 words that proved trust was never really there. 4 words that show exactly who Jon Snow is and who he could never stop being. Even for love. Even for a queen. Even for the realm. Jon Snow chose the Starks, and Daenerys Targaryen died alone because of it.